Hake is live on Periscope and D live and Facebook. And come on, YouTube. We'll see if that hate strike happens. Because I was telling the honest, earnest truth. I don't know if any transgenders listen to my show, though. I like to talk to my audience. But suppose a transgender listens? Hey, Walter Heyer. Jesse Lee Peterson. What's up, Twitch, too? I saw you online briefly. There you are. Twitch, Facebook, Periscope, D Live, YouTube, and of course, TalkStream Live. Yes, you can listen on just pure live audio feed. You don't have to pull up the video. It's pretty cool. Of course, you can use the Periscope background audio mode, where you can turn off your screen and it'll still play. You can go to other apps. If you're using a smartphone, it's cool. Handy. Or if you're paying that service for YouTube to do the same thing. Man. So, what's up, guys? It is Thursday, November 5th. Yes, 5th is the one, right? 5th is the one with two F's, not 4th. It's 4th. I figured it out. Pretty sure it's 5th, right? 2020, 9:02 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time. I will be getting to your calls, 888-775-3773. Excited to get to them, actually. I have Chris from Arizona on the line. I haven't heard from her in a long time. So, I'm going to be touching on, though, some violence and intimidation. Well, I don't know if this really documents... obstruction and violation of civil rights of Trump supporters. Well, really violation of their rights. Like, let's agree with Jesse Lee Peterson that there's no such thing as civil rights. I have some pictures of Trump's tweets, some of which were censored partially by Twitter. Twitter lies, by the way. John Doyle, the great John Doyle. Isn't that the guy, Heck Off Commie? That's the same guy, right? He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, I believe. Suspended on Twitter. Probably for saying something true. You know? I think it had to do with the election. Because I think that we retweeted many of us retweeted John Doyle. I forget if I did. I heard of protests in Arizona by Trump supporters and elsewhere. Shaming of Fox News, or should I say, faux news. Because they called Arizona for Joe Biden. And they were like, did it way early. And honestly, it's still too early. But Fox News and AP, far left enemy of America, AP, both called Arizona, I guess, for Joe Biden. The election is still not settled. It's not over. So we'll see. Election shenanigans. I talked about that in Hake News at the end of hour 1 today of the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Affirmative action got struck down. Very nice. Kathy Griffin still being a disgusting person. Trump derangement syndrome person. And there's a whole lot of people applauding her. Just shows you that if you're popular, doesn't mean that you're doing right. You know what I mean? A lot of people think, oh, I'm popular. I must be doing something right. Maybe you're doing something right, but it doesn't mean you're not evil and misguided. People will applaud you. The world will applaud you for doing evil. LGBTQIA people elected. There's more than just what I mentioned. And yes, Maria and others who've been wondering, yes, it includes transgenders who have been elected. I mentioned that yesterday. And I think I have others today who have got on. Joy Reid is an MSNBC host. Disgusting. The Confederate flag under attack. Scapegoated. The scapegoating of white Christian American Southerners. Some of the greatest people in America. And our history is excellent from the South. Decent people. Smeared. And the worst people in America kissed up to by fellow worst people in America. It's awful. Including people who pretend that they're Christians. Including white-looking people. Crazy. And Ted Wheeler won in so-called mayor Ted Wheeler of Portland, Oregon, one of the most disgraceful cities in America. He won his re-election against an Antifa person I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because he's an evil kiss-up himself. It's ridiculous. Anyway, guys, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, isn't it a shame and so backwards? I say this practically every day at the beginning of the show that they accuse decent people of what they do, such as being violent, being intimidating, being nasty, being evil, being so-called divisive, being full of hate, looking down on the POCs and stuff like that. Look at that disgusting Kathy Griffin tweeting that picture all over again after she got raked over the coals, or reamed, or both, for showing herself looking dead in the eyes, holding up a fake head of a fake decapitated President Donald Trump, which she did that back in, 2017 or something like 2016? Pretending that she's this ISIS fighter and she cut off Donald Trump's head. And there are picture after picture after picture of black fake artists who paint pictures of decapitated or beheaded mostly white women, black females, including one of like the Obama portrait so-called artists. I forget whether it was Barack's portrait artist or Michelle's portrait artist, but they painted that stuff. Just disgusting, disturbing images. And black on white crime to this day is way out of control, way out of proportion compared to white on black. But nobody wants to talk about it. Well, some people talk about it, report on it, expose it. Colin Flaherty, Jesse Lee Peterson. Those two are the ones that I heard it from initially. And also Jared Taylor, the guy who's been banned from YouTube and Twitter. Just the nicest, most polite boomer that you can imagine. Nice white guy, but because he's white and because he's a white advocate, that's not a good thing to be. There's no room in America for white advocacy. Kathy is a puppet for attention, says Canadian David. I cracked. I'm growing, guys. But yeah, it's pretty gross. And that went up November 3rd, close to midnight, our time, right? California time. And it was early morning after President Trump tweeted that he's suing some state or another and saying fraud in one other place and saying that he's won in PA, Pennsylvania. We'll see what happens. It's not over. People are acting like it's over, including the liberal, usually trying to be objective journalist Michael Tracy, whom I have told you guys about. But he thought Joe Biden was going to blow out Trump. He fell for it. And he admitted that he fell for the media lies. But he is a liberal, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. And there has been plenty of voter fraud. And there are, over the years. And look at the type of people that are running the elections. And look at the type of people who are voting nowadays. And look at the type of people who are allowed to come in here and stay here. And look at the blacks, how they don't mind cheating and lying and welfare fraud and voter fraud and all that stuff. Of course they're going to do it. Is wide open to it, they do it. I sometimes I look at the Telegram feed of the great journalist / conservative activist, Vincent James, who I think he was also banned on YouTube and Twitter. He shared a video footage of this black female stuffing a ballot box with all these ballots. And that's illegal, by the way. You're only supposed to do it on behalf of another person with their express permission because they're disabled. So-called disabled, right? You're supposed to deliver it yourself, or maybe a family member, but not a friend. You know, like they have pretty strict rules, but no, they just look the other way with these rules being broken. And there has been documented, even in 2013, The Atlantic, some writer who was convicted on like violations, I think. He wrote about how handing out cash for getting out the vote, including paying voters themselves to vote a certain way, has been rampant in so-called urban districts. That means black districts. They don't mind lying. They don't mind cheating. And also we've seen cases I saw on that Telegram feed. I shared it on my Telegram too. Follow JLP Talk on Telegram. Follow the Hake Report on Telegram. And follow, I think it's Vincent James. Yes, the Red Elephants guy. There was electioneering. Right outside, people were handing blacks instructions on how to vote for, I think, vote for Philadelphia or something like that, or Pittsburgh, one of those places, right? Some liberal city, mostly black city. Not mostly black, but heavily black. And they're telling them how to vote. Of course, and this is why we talk about we don't want dumb people voting and evil, blind, brainwashed people voting. We want more votes is the common refrain from the fake people who pretend to want a democracy. They only want a so-called democracy because the majority of people are blind, brainwashed suckers who don't care and don't know anything. Right? And meanwhile, and they're talking about voter suppression and voter intimidation and Proud Boys and being so bad. Well, I have a clip for you that, and then I will get to calls because lines are filling up. 888-775-3773. Yes, they cannot think for themselves, Mr. J. Apparently. Voter fraud is real. They just say it, and Twitter lies. It says they promote NBC, ABC, these studies that are done by liberals. One thing that Jesse Lee Peterson did, and then I'll play this clip. Over at the JSA, Junior State America, speaking engagement up in, kind of the valley, right? San Fernando Valley, a few years back, when a Obama volunteer woman who was running the JSA, Junior State America, which is like young high schoolers, right? High school age people who want to get involved and care about politics. Huge. Well, pretty big event, right? Hundreds of so-called kids, minors, mostly. She grabbed him and pulled him off the mic because he was saying stuff that was true, that was making people freak out and run and hide in the bathrooms. He said, if you're this is on YouTube. Black Trump supporter assaulted by a Obama woman or something like that. He said that if you're a victim, you're pathetic. You're a loser. You shouldn't be ever thinking of yourself as a victim. Or a survivor, like the feminists try to say, because they want to feel like they're tougher, but still a victim, but also tough and a survivor. Survivors of domestic violence, even though they started it, right? So he also said, about homosexuality, and he also said, in response to some know-it-all female who's like all sassy, and you see this so commonly, more and more now. He said, what you have to understand is you cannot trust these studies because these studies are done by liberals, and liberals lie. And yes, they do. All up and down, from the most uneducated, low-class criminal, or non-criminal even, all the way up to the president of the United States, such as like Barack Obama, or the attorney general, Eric Holder, or Loretta Lynch. They lie. All the way up and down. In the deep state, they lie. That's, by deep state, I mean FBI, CIA, all those sleazy people. And the FBI is scaremongering, including RINOs, honestly. RINOs are liberals, by the way. That's why I say that the Supreme Court is liberal majority. It's not conservative majority. Don't let them lie to you. Meanwhile, real life, we see and we all know that violence and intimidation against Trump supporters is the norm. And I have this clip that I came across on Telegram that I can play for you. It's about 2 minutes long, roughly. Here is, and if you're not watching, I will try to shout over it and explain what's going on. Or I'll describe it after, we'll see. So it starts off with a whole slew of young, blind, brainwashed, black and maybe Asian, maybe Hispanic, and mostly female liberals blocking the path to, I think they were trying to go to the inauguration of President Trump in January 20th or so, 2017. Blocking the path, getting in their way. It's not right. In the middle of the street, too, by the way. And it goes downhill from there. They attack people, knock them out, kick them when they're down, bloody them up. These are both Antifa, Black Lives Matter, just general Democrat, liberal Trump haters. And this is rampant, and it's been rampant for years. Watch this and listen. Blocking entrance to inauguration. Pulling old folks around. Breaking windows with bats and things. Thank God for tear gas. They tear gassed they pepper sprayed a woman. Kicking through windows. Breaking the windows of a limousine. Nothing to do with anything. Antifa. Terrorists. This guy gets rocked. They just attack him. Trump hat. Evil people, blind and brainwashed. Obama shirt. Look at smacking these people on the head, blooding them up. Madness in the streets. One guy down on the street, just in the middle of the street, and they're kicking him. Knocked down an old guy. Look at his face, it's all messed up. This is Proud Boys helping them out. Woman, they threw eggs at this white woman's head. Chasing down this white kid. Mobbing him. Tearing this guy's shirt off. I think this might be San Jose. Rocking cars. It's crazy. It's out of control. And that's just a small snippet of what's been going on. They murdered somebody in Portland, Oregon. A religious man, as President Trump said. And that's disgusting. But the media pretends, oh, Proud Boys are the problem. They need to be declared a terrorist organization. Proud Boys are just trying to maintain a little bit of order if they're even out there. Many of them are smart enough to just stay away now. Stand back and stand by, right? As President Trump rightly said. And some dumb guy called into my show saying, oh, by saying that, he means for white nationalists or white supremacists to get ready to do a crazy attack, a coup on America. Stupid. Just completely making stuff up out of his imagination. And that's what gets spread around on Twitter. But meanwhile, they try to fight so-called disinformation by censoring President Trump, censoring Mark Dice, censoring Jesse Lee Peterson, and everybody. Phony. Phony world we live in, right? The world rewards evil. Thank you to Noah's Ark Kansas for the diamonds and Jesse Lee Peterson for hosting the show, as well as Dark Side of the Bear What. Faithful supporters appreciate it. Biden said Antifa is just an idea, and he was repeating the line from, I don't know if it was Christopher Wray or who's that guy who's posing as the Homeland Security chief? Chad Wolf, maybe. You know, these people who are in the Trump administration pretend to be helping out Trump. Liars. The establishment supports lies and the status quo of allowing illegal aliens to run wild, allowing black violent crime to run wild, allowing the false scaremongering and smearing of white people and Christians. It's crazy. So, they're lying to you. They don't have an objective view of the world. I remember, what's that guy, Mike Cernovich? You know, he's a center-left journalist / activist, supports Trump generally. He showed up, he got a press credential a couple of years back, and he's like, what about all this crazy violence against Trump supporters and Antifa going out of control? Why don't you guys talk about that? He was basically confronting the mainstream media, the White House press corps, right? And they just stayed quiet. Some of them laughed at him. Some of them, pretended to ignore him. Some of them mocked him. They act like he's the bad guy when he's trying to show a semblance of fair-mindedness. But that's not them. They are liars. They don't mind lying, and they don't mind cheating. So we'll see what happens with this election thing, huh? I have the screenshot of this Twitter thing, Lion. What's their line? Where did I put it? Oh, Twitter lying. Here it says, voter fraud of any kind is exceedingly rare within the U.S. Election experts confirm. Experts are liberals. Experts are liars. Trump tweeted, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, we have claimed for electoral vote purposes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which won't allow legal observers, the state of Georgia, and the state of North Carolina, each one of which has a big Trump lead. Additionally, we hereby claim that the state of Michigan, if in fact there was a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported. And that last part, I think, might have been censored later. That was yesterday, early afternoon, that he tweeted that out. Exceedingly rare. What a ridiculous statement, right? They don't look for it. 2, they pretend to look for it. And 3, it's hard to even track or catch after the deed is done, all of this madness. And they also point out, as Jesse pointed out, once the mainstream media declares these things, it's like you're breaking the spirit and you're making people expect, Biden really is the winner and Trump is stealing it from him. They always say the reverse of what's really going on, or commonly say the reverse of what's really going on. They say, Russia, Trump is subverting the election. Meanwhile, that's all they do for the last 5 years, has been trying to subvert, actually more like 100 years. It's crazy. And yeah, that's true. They say, mail-in ballots is not rife with fraud. Well, did you know that in many cases, in past elections, they don't even count the mail-in ballots of military people who are overseas. They don't even count them because they say, we've counted enough. we already know what the result's going to be. So they don't even bother counting. So you don't even really have the real numbers. And they don't have any data on this mass mailed mail-in ballots because they mail it to any old person. I got multiple ballots for people I never even met, I never even heard of, don't even know at the place where I'm living. You think a less honest person, what do you think they would do with those ballots? And it's very easy. I mean, Fleckus, he reported on dead people voting, having sent in their mail-in ballots. And he asked, how long has this been going on? Long time, because we've been hearing about it since the Obama election, or maybe even before that. But that's when I started paying attention. Crazy. Let me get to Chris in Arizona. It's been a long time. It's not first time, but it's been a long time since I heard from Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm great.
Right on.
So the last time Cassie called you, I was at work. That was a really nice call. I told her that you were like her big brother, and that she was allowed to call you anytime she wanted.
Is that your niece or your daughter?
No, she's my daughter.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, she called you while I was at work, and I didn't think she would go through with it just because she seemed nervous. But
Yeah.
she wasn't. She's no longer nervous anymore.
Nice.
About that.
That's cool. Does she still listen?
Yeah.
Is she going to school like in person yet?
Yes. They've been going to school for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I was like, so you're at school when James is on. Do you still listen to him? Yeah. And I said, so when you're with your dad, you still listen to James? Yeah, sometimes.
That's cool. What an honor.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with her, right?
Anyway, yeah, I know. School's pretty bad these days.
Right.
She believes in, the climate change thing. Not that I don't believe in climate change, but the stuff that they're saying about it, there's a lot of lies in it, and I don't think we have any effect or a very minimal effect over climate change.
Yeah, it's kind of, and it's not even really the question because they're pretending these are the worst people in the world coming up with their fake globalist, socialist, fake solutions, and it amounts to just taxing businesses who are still going to be pumping out this carbon stuff that's supposed to be so bad, which it isn't.
Right.
And it's taxing, and those taxes are going to the worst people that you ever want the taxes to go to in the world. So it's just a scam. It's a complete scam. It's a power grab.
It looks like a scam. Even though I haven't looked deep into it, just looking at the surface of it, it looks like a scam to me.
Yeah, all you need to know are look at the people who are backing it. So, there's this thing where you can't, they call it a straw man or something like that, or you can't, it's not a valid argument to point out who is the person arguing. Yes, it is. Because look at these people, they haven't done anything good. The UN and Alexandria Cortez and Al Gore, these are the worst people in the world. And the Hollywood people, including Leonardo DiCaprio and all them, they are the scum of the earth.
Look at the list of people.
Yeah.
Just look at the list of people that follow it, and you're like, nope.
Right.
They have no credibility whatsoever.
And they're trying to brainwash, and they're being successful. More and more people. They're intimidating the Fox News people, which they've been on a downward slide morally for a long time anyways, to pretend that it's real.
You've had some callers. Yeah, you've had some callers talk about that recently.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Yep.
So the real reason for my
But
call,
the other thing is,
the
other thing is with that is that, it sounds like she doesn't have her parents together and married, and that leaves her also at a disadvantage. That also causes problems with kids.
Yeah, what's good is that her father and I both see eye to eye on these issues. That I'm
nice.
Impressed with that. I'm
yeah.
surprised, actually.
That helps politically, but also like the spiritual stuff, you guys both have to get it right. Or you do anyway.
Yeah.
No controlling the
Let's hope.
father.
Well, he started going back to church once he got remarried. Me, I quit
Oh,
going to
gosh.
church.
Yeah. That's
And-
not
and I
necessarily a good
wanted
thing.
I know. I
Because
know.
I don't believe in divorce and remarriage, but I'm talking. But you can only control yourself.
Right. I know what you meant when you said that.
Yeah. So
But I go to church with Jesse.
nice. Right on. Does she ever listen to church?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
No.
I think she would like it.
I'll turn it on real loud. Usually the kids are like,
I'm not
that's
saying to force
Jesse."
it on
The
her, but
older
I would think
sisters-
that.
No, I don't want to force it on
Yeah.
her exactly. But her older sisters, they're like, oh no, she's listened to Jesse. And I don't want them to influence her because they have a big influence on her. They're her older sisters.
Yeah.
And she trusts them a lot. But so far, even with you, I'm like, oh, Hake is on, and I get excited when I'm listening to Jesse and you come on and everything, and they're like, oh no, and they roll their eyes.
Right.
I actually think it's funny. I'm teasing them.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I know a lot of conservative parents and stuff like that who did the Tea Party thing, or they get into listening even to Jesse Lee Peterson, and then they kind of turn off their children to the truth by, being
too
kind of
excited
into
about
it,
it,
not quite living it, and stuff. People, you can have an undermining effect on what you're trying to do, what you're wanting to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that clearly. Oh yeah, I see
Yeah.
that too.
Anyway, crazy.
So the real reason I called has to do with the inoculations. You had that I don't know how young he is, but Brian. You spoke to
Yeah.
a pharmacist, Ryan, about vaccines.
You said that he was lying about vaccines?
I didn't say he was lying.
Oh, okay. I thought you said lying about vaccines. Yeah. Brian, I think it was Brian from
He's not, or did I say
Detroit.
that? No, I don't think I said that. He just might be a little bit misinformed.
he's a pharmacist, right? From Detroit,
Right, he's
Michigan.
a pharmacist.
Yeah.
And I dated a pharmacist, and we had this conversation. So I'm still really good friends with that pharmacist. Pharmacists are allowed to give out the morning after pill. And I don't
Crazy.
know what had me asking my friend, okay, so you have to get a prescription from your doctor, right? He goes, no. You just walk in,
Yeah.
and I hand it to you.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
just imagine if the Democrats were to sit by and allow Republicans and sane people to be like, whoa, you have to get a recommendation from your doctor first. No, they want you to be able to kill that baby right away.
Right. They still do. The morning after pills out there. You
Yeah.
just walk up to the desk and say, oh, I had a party last night and it got out of hand and I need the morning after pill. So he
Man,
sells
how
them like
humiliating.
candy.
You have to be pretty shameless to do that, it seems like.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, so. he
I
goes,
think
"You
that
won't
about
believe how
people
many
who,
customers."
I honestly think that about people who buy condoms and all that stuff. Maybe they're getting it on Amazon nowadays, but
It's
you have to be
embarrassing
like
to go to the checkout.
humiliating, right? I would think. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess they're taking away the shame out of it. There's been a whole push to take away the shame from all this.
But as a
Perversion.
woman, I was embarrassed to bring up if I had to purchase pads,
Right.
That's embarrassing. I'm like,
Yeah. What a mess.
So, but Brian, he said he said it was a misnomer that there's baby body parts. Now, the way the medical community say it is that when what they do is they put the virus inside of a cell, the cell explodes, the baby's cell explodes, and when it explodes, they refine it. So supposedly, apparently, there's no baby body parts in the inoculation.
But they use the baby body parts to make the thing. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Now I
Exactly.
have a question, because can't they use the umbilical cord or placenta or whatever it's called? Is that the same thing? Can't they use that part? Because that's not a dead baby.
They don't use that part though.
Oh, really?
There are 2 babies from the 1960s that they are still getting those cells from that were aborted in early 1960s.
Wow. So babies have
Are
you
a name,
serious?
But the babies are. I'm serious. The 2 babies have a name.
Where'd you get
but
this?
But the name are numbers. Okay. Now, 10 years ago, when I looked it up, I couldn't find this information on the internet.
Uh-huh.
I had to dig. And the way I did was I went to the disease control website and I clicked on their paper about this particular inoculation that I had heard had fetal cells, the HPV. My child was now in middle school, and the school was saying, it's time for her to get her HPV. It was a new inoculation. I'm like, what do you mean? I've never heard of this before. I don't know what the name of the actual inoculation is, but it's to keep your child from getting HPV. It's a sexually transmitted disease.
Wow.
That if you catch it and you are an adult and you want to have children, it can cause cervical cancer.
Okay.
So that's why they're pumping it into our kids' arms. And I said, well, she doesn't need that. Forget that one. And but I looked into it first, and it was new at the time. So children had been having adverse reactions to it. Some have even died.
Wow.
And
over an STD shot that they don't even need. That's so weird.
Exactly. So
why does it have to be dead babies?
It doesn't. They can use the cell. Okay, well, the reason they use the fetal cells is because it doesn't break down as fast as animal cells because it's a human virus.
What about adults? Well, those are corrupt anyway. Adult cells are corrupt.
We're already too old. It's not fetal cells. It has to be fetal cells. And unless you save your umbilical cord from the day of your birth, you can save your own personal umbilical cord the day that you're born if your parents decide to do so.
That's so weird.
They have it saved in some laboratory somewhere. And if your child catches a specific disease, they can use that baby's umbilical cord to fight off some diseases that they might catch later on in life.
Wow, that's so freaky.
It's not as
just
freaky
feeding
as
on the young
dead baby.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's true.
My source is a Catholic organization, Human Life International, because now it is so easy to get this information online. And they had another source that gave a list of what baby body parts are now used in a couple of companies that we purchase off the shelf today. Now, they don't have fetal body parts in the foods, but they test the foods before giving it to us. The only company that does it, and the other companies canceled their contract with this big company that does this. But what they're doing is they use it as an artificial flavor. They test artificial flavors using the fetal cell line HEK-293.
That's so weird.
Yeah, and
the scientific community is corrupt.
Company, because you might be having this company's creamer in your coffee right now.
Oh man, don't say that.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, so if you want to look up the list, it's a watchdog, Children of God for Life. That is in the first one, Human Life International. They have a so. I don't know if it's 100% true.
Right.
But it claims that this aging skin cream line...
I've heard something like that.
...has baby body parts in it. Now, our food does not have baby body parts in it. But this skin cream line does.
That is so weird.
And it says it is from a 14-week gestation aborted male baby. It specifically even says what is in the cream. Can you imagine?
No wonder they don't like China that much, because the Chinese wanted living boys, but they aborted the girls because they had that one child policy, which they changed to 2 several years back.
Right. And I remember reading an article. It was a long time ago, so I don't know where the article came from, but someone was walking along the river near a hospital, and all these babies were in the water. It was like the hospital just tossed. It was in China.
In China, yeah.
They just tossed the babies into the river, and they collected in this one area, and they were all girl babies.
That's communism for you, just dehumanizing the babies, the most vulnerable.
So the children's
the most
hospital
innocent,
at
right?
Right, the most innocent. And
then they protect the most guilty. It's ridiculous.
Remember Dr. Kevorkian was killing off old people that wanted to die?
Yep.
And you don't know if their children were coercing their parents.
Right.
You don't know if your children are doing that to their parents and saying, you won't be in pain anymore. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's so evil. Yeah, that's dehumanizing the old people. And you heard about, there was a caller the other day asking about, he got in an argument with his dad about if the child is going to have deformities or disabilities or Down syndrome or whatever. A couple of callers told me about this. Yeah, the Greek guy, and then another guy
he was talking to his dad.
And then another guy who his first son had Down syndrome, and they tested that baby. It didn't turn up with any problems, but he was born with problems. And then he realized, wait a minute, that test was in order to let the parents pick whether they wanted to have this so-called burden of a child, which it is a burden, right? To have the disability, so-called disability, handicap, I like. And they think, oh, you can kill the baby and save yourself the trouble. Evil.
Yeah, they asked me if I wanted to take the test. And I said, and so first they draw your blood. The second test is an amnio. And I said, so if you take this test, it will warn me that I'm going to have a disabled baby, and you can't do anything about it. Can you fix it in the womb? No, we can't fix it in the womb. Then why would I have that test done? That's what I told my doctor.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay, if we do this test, you're going to have to continue with the test and you can't stop.
Wow.
So what he was saying is that he was telling me that if I decided not to have the amnio, if I did get that first withdrawal of blood, and I'm like, amnios can kill the baby because they have to stick the needle into the mom's pregnant belly to get those cells that are in the sac, right? So I was like, well, there's no reason for me to even go that route anyway, so no.
Playing God. It's crazy. That's an immoral, so-called medical field, right? I appreciate it, Chris. It's good to hear from you.
You're welcome. Thanks, James.
All right. Take care. They're passing laws like crazy. There's this huge push for assisted suicide, euthanasia, they call it. I think they have it in Oregon or somewhere. Some young woman with cancer killed herself for it. Some guy did, I think. They're doing it, and it's a growing thing. It's sick. Let me get to Earl in Michigan. He wants to talk about the election and respond to Rick from Maine. Rick from Maine put Earl in his place yesterday. Earl, how are you doing? Earl, come off of mute. Going once. Well, check on Earl for me. Let me get to Samuel in Sweden. Samuel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Right on.
I want to call in and just comment the U.S. election because people talk about it here in Sweden pretty much. And, I say Trump won. And they say, well, he didn't win or something like that. But
right.
But, I say, I have full confidence that Trump will rule this boat to land. There's a Swedish expression. I don't know if you have that in the USA, but, row the boat to land.
Okay. That's a nice expression.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm totally confident that he will win in the end. I mean, it was obvious that he has more support this time in that way that in many states, last election, it was really on a needle on many states. And he often won because so many people voted on that third party. I don't know political party. There's an independent political party.
Right.
And I know many said, well, if people had instead voted on Hillary instead of that independent political party, then Trump lost many states. But this time, he is far over, he was far over Joe Biden in many states, and suddenly when they just stopped voting, everything changed when they start voting, they start counting the votes.
Yeah. It's so weird
And,
what they're doing. It's looks like shenanigans to me. Meaning cheating.
Fraud. It's fraud all the way. But they, the liberal media, which is 99% of the main media,
Right.
they are quite literally playing along all the way. So here in Sweden, they say that Trump is crazy, saying that he won, and then they say that the Biden campaign say that Biden won, and they applaud and are really happy. So they're mad when Trump say he won. They support
Right.
happy when Biden.
That's so funny because you'll notice President Trump said, we're going to win, and honestly, I have won. He said, honestly, I have won, which what he means by that. And it's quite clear that he's saying, if this were honest, I won. And then Biden lies and says, I'm not going to say I won, but we won. Basically is what he did. He lied, whereas Trump told the truth. Trump was honest. Biden was a dishonest, typical politician. He said, I'm not declaring victory, but I won. He didn't say I won, but he said, I got the votes to 270. 270 is the number of electoral college votes that you're supposed to earn, right?
Yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that Trump is a fighter and that he's willing to fight this.
Yes.
Because it ain't over until it's over.
Yep. I like that too. And I like how he's even calling out his lawyers, because he said, my lawyers asked to be able to watch and review over this thing. But what good is that? Because the damage is already done. All of these votes were allowed to be cast and counted and reported to the fake media, and the fake media is all too happy to report them and then suppress any mention of the shenanigans going on. It's crazy. Ballot dumps and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I know that I read that the Senate became Republican again. Was it the
I
Senate?
think they kept the Senate. Yeah, they were thinking, the Senate's going to lose, but I think
the lower house,
the lower house, the House of Representatives. Yeah. I don't know what happened with that. I think we kept some stuff. Matt Gaetz got his reelection. That's nice. And by the way, they said somebody said, I think it was Joy Reid. Was it Joy Reid who said, you have white people to thank for Trump almost getting elected or something like that or whatever. And Matt Gaetz is, you're welcome. So, meaning like, yes, on behalf of all Americans, you have white people to thank for voting for sanity.
I just want to mention a thing that we do here in Sweden with so-called post-voting.
Okay.
Or voting before election.
Yeah.
And that's, you don't send your vote by mail if you don't live in outside of Sweden. But you go to, they're all kind of different places like libraries or other places that you can go like 1 or 2 months before the election and put, I think it's 1 month before election, put in a special locked box. And then on the election day, they have a main house where they open the ballots that they filled during the month, and they filled the main
Wow.
main shares. So I mean, to just send mails with a postal office, we don't do that in Sweden, but we can go and we can, or if we don't go, if we don't want to go personally, we can send someone else to give or vote.
Okay.
But we have very special. I mean, we have a special unique vote for every person that we get in the or in the before the. I missed all the words. You get some months before the election. You have it.
Has to be well before, huh?
Time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and now they're trying to accept stuff that comes in after the fact, or they mess, the U.S. Postal Office, right, which is a bunch of liberals. They try to say, oh, we got this stuff too late, but they sent it on time. All kinds of stuff going on. In L.A. here somewhere, I saw a video shared on Twitter of this ballot drop box getting emptied and put into suitcases and backpacks after California had already been called. So those votes didn't count. It's crazy. It's pretty dishonest over here.
It's really crazy.
It's a disorderly mess. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I always wanted to say that, but I'm totally confident Trump will win.
Yep. And there has been plenty of proof of mass voter fraud, and it's been going on a long time. They don't care. And dishonest people. And by the way, the mainstream media has endlessly lied to the people about Trump, trying to undermine Trump. And yet he's still overpowering them and coming out on top in general. And we'll see what happens with this thing. He is a winner. He is a fighter. So we'll see. Appreciate it, Samuel. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, no problems. Have a nice day. You
too. Take care. Let me get back to Earl. I think he's ready now. Earl from Michigan. How are you? What the heck? Earl going once. What's your problem, Earl? He's scared. I think that's what it is. Let me just double check. Ron from Rhode Island here. Do you think it's possible for a civil war? I don't know. Not something to worry about, right? Not something to worry about. But you should be physically fit for anything, right? Should be fit and ready for, be prepared, like the Boy Scouts say. But no, don't be concerning yourself with speculation like that. Deal with stuff as it comes, but be careful because people are evil. He's back again. Oh man, what the heck? Earl, this is your last chance for today. Earl, how are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias, James.
Hey, what's your problem? What you been doing right now? How come you didn't answer the past couple times?
I was answering, fella.
You were answering?
Yeah.
So you could hear me, but I couldn't hear you?
Right.
Interesting. All right. I accept that.
Before I start, I'd like to correct you on something you said yesterday. Just a question that you said, you asked, was the word pronounced fourth? It's pronounced fourth with a TH at the end.
Right.
Not fourth.
Yeah, I corrected myself just this morning as we were starting the stream. It's fifth that has two F's.
All right.
Yep.
As it goes to Rick of Maine.
Yeah, Rick from Maine really put you in your place.
Yeah, he surely did. Like, I like to tell Rick from Maine.
Wait, let me just tell you. Let me just remind the people what Rick from Maine said.
French.
He said.
Go ahead.
He said, "Go to your demon, voting for demon rats, because that's who you voted for. Demon rats, sucker." Okay, he didn't call you sucker, but that's what I call you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
tell Rick that I don't give a damn what he thinks.
Dang, cussing.
You think I stay up nights worrying about it if he approves what I say and so forth?
You felt the need to
I don't know
respond
him
to it.
from Adam. He don't mean nothing to me.
You said you're a madam?
Absolutely nothing.
You said that you're a madam?
No, I say he don't mean nothing to me.
Oh, he doesn't matter. White lives
No, he
matter,
doesn't.
Earl.
And
White lives matter, Earl.
yeah, try to be funny.
No, it's
But,
true. Oh, he thinks it's funny to think that white lives matter. It's not a joke,
no, I don't
man.
think it's funny. I don't think it's funny. I think you trying to be funny.
But you're lying. You do care what he says because you felt the need to call in and
No, I
respond to
just
him.
came to straighten him out. He called himself checking me. So I'm going to check him back. You know, I don't play that crap.
All right, we'll
Just
see.
because if he has something against something I say, that's different. When he try to attack me personally, then we go at it.
What are you talking about? You think he attacked you personally?
Yeah, he's talking about, I guess, when he flaps his lips or says or whatever, because of his grandpapa told him what respect is. That sounds like a personal problem between him and his grandpapa.
Oh, that's right, because you were arguing with me because you said blacks don't have to answer cops or security guards or neighborhood watchmen when they ask them what they're doing, where they're going, or whatever. What you up to? What you doing in this area right now? And you don't have to listen to it. It's your right. And I said, well, you have to show some respect. And there's a major lack of respect and major tendency to unnecessarily escalate situations amongst so many blacks. And you said, no, it's about rights. And you don't care about respect, right? And
No, I
so
said
this
that
guy
has nothing to do what we're talking about. That's a separate issue.
But it
When comes
happens
to
in the
whether
same. But it
My
applies.
point where you went off on the respect and all this other side issues.
But it's the root issue
What-
of what's going on.
What it was, I was talking about whether you have a right when any Tom, Dick, and Harry comes to you and want to know where you're going and what you're doing and why you're in my neighborhood. You don't have to answer. You have rights. And you went to the police. And I said, they don't have they have to have a reason to stop you.
Correct. But they don't. But they can ask. They can ask you the question. It's a free country, man.
I know they can answer. We established that.
Yeah.
I said you can ask, and that you have a right to refuse.
Right, but the blacks take it further than that. They get all disrespectful and crazy.
The cops take it further than that.
No, the cops
The
only.
cops won't just walk away.
The cops
when they don't
respond
have
in kind.
Any reason for stopping you? They want to. A lot of them, not all cops. I shouldn't say cops in general, but there are a lot of them that want to flash their authority type of thing. Like I ask you a question, you got to answer.
Maybe. I'm sure that there are a few cops who. Hold on. I'm sure there are a few cops who get power tripping, right?
Ain't a few,
but
it's a lot of them.
All right, maybe a lot. Maybe a lot. But everybody knows that a whole lot of blacks cause a whole lot of problems, including those who get stopped and they get a whole lot of attitude.
A whole lot of problems. They talk back to the cops. They get a lot of trouble. That don't end up dead because they talk back to a cop.
That's irrelevant.
You know, and it's irrelevant. You're bringing up respect.
No, it's
when
not.
It comes to your rights.
No, it's not, because everybody knows that there's a whole lot of blacks who lack any sense of respect for authority.
There's a whole lot of whites who lack the same respect, idiot.
Boo-hoo.
That's where you're wrong.
Boo-hoo. Whites do it too. What's your point?
I know they do it. So let's don't make it a black special that only black.
But it's a disproportionately black problem.
It ain't no disproportionately black.
Yes, it is.
It's the majority white.
I'm like, who am I right now? I'm like Obama.
Because you fast, you are.
Earl, no, you don't. You don't know what you're talking about. That's why the majority of whites are the ones getting killed by cops, dude.
No.
It's a fact. You just don't know math. You just don't like reality.
You just don't concentrate on the whites, and so all you do is talk about what the blacks do.
Not true.
Don't have any idea how many whites.
More white people get killed by
you
cops.
You don't have any idea, do you, James?
Yes, I do. More white people get killed by cops than blacks.
You just make assumptions.
Nope. Nope. Wrong.
The whole propaganda
False.
is to, no, just facts, and I'm exposing you for your assumptions and lies. But by the way, you just made a comment that they don't count. What's that?
Yeah, the military ballots.
Yeah. Based on what facts, James?
It's a known fact. Election after election.
James?
Based on the media. Based on the media.
Made up.
It's a known fact.
It out of thin air. Have you seen anybody prosecuted for it, James?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Where did you get it from, James?
Because you're just trying to lie and deny. Typical black liberal, just lying and denying.
You just made something out of thin air and think people are supposed to take you verbatim.
You don't know what you're talking about. You're just making accusations. No, you're just making accusations without knowing what you're talking about.
Let's face it.
You're doing what you're accusing me of doing.
That they don't count a military vote.
It's known fact. It's a known fact.
Known word, James.
Look it up if you care to find out. If you really care to find out the truth, look it up.
It's all in the recess of your dark phone.
I retweeted it.
You have no facts.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth.
No, it's your made up truth.
You're just in denial, Earl. You just hate the truth.
You have nothing.
You hate truth.
You know what you're talking about.
Earl hates truth.
No, I hate made up assumptions. And when you can't do it,
no, that's what you are. Made up assumptions. That's all you are.
Now, you know you have nothing.
Bible go-to guy has a text for you, since you don't want to accept reality.
Let me hear about the go-to guy.
He's quoting.
I've heard him in a while.
He's quoting you. I don't care what he thinks or what anyone thinks. And he says to you, Earl, that does not make you wise. It matters what is right and wrong. So if somebody points out that something is wrong with you, answer back to the accusation directly instead of this pompous, I don't care what he thinks. That's how kids talk, and actually immature people talk. So you're immature, Earl.
No.
Yeah?
You just took his...
Come back to the phone.
You just took what he said verbatim as if it's true.
It is true.
As if the person
you completely ignored the fact that blacks lack respect.
Right. As if the person who made the criticism is automatically right. Bible truth guy, that don't make him any righter than you are.
All right, Earl. Appreciate it.
By the way, Bible truth guy, you never did answer my question, Bible truth guy.
Bible go-to guy to you. Mr. Bible go-to
guy.
That's Master Bible go-to guy to you.
When I asked the question about have you ever found anybody in life, in history, in the Bible, that was perfect and was perfect parents and had perfect kids? And did you find anyone where in the Bible that it says you have to go forgive your parents to get to heaven? Is that anywhere?
You have to forgive. If you don't forgive, then God won't forgive you. It's plainly right there.
Specify parents. As we know, someone.
It doesn't have to specify parents. Anyone. Anyone includes parents.
Well, it can include. I mean, you can include.
What do you mean
anybody.
Can? Who's the first person? Earl.
What I'm saying is, James.
Earl. Who's the first person to do some sort of injustice against you? Usually it's a family member. Because that's who you grow up with. That's who you grow up with.
Friends.
Yep.
Enemies, relatives.
Does Jesse say you don't have to forgive those people too?
It didn't specify you need to go forgive your parents specifically.
You're just trying to cast doubt on the truth.
No.
Yeah. You're trying to undermine like a female.
You try to make that as if the truth.
And this is somebody this is a Democrat pretending to be a Christian, by the way.
Don't go to some diversion, James.
You're the
Look at
diversion.
subject.
Anyway.
Show me where it says that you have to forgive your parents.
Honor your father and mother. Honor your father and mother.
Honor.
Yes.
Honor. It didn't say forgive.
If
What
you
does
hate
honor
them,
mean,
how are
James?
you honoring them?
Do you mean that you need to forgive them?
Earl. If you hate them, how are you honoring them?
No. It doesn't mean, honor doesn't mean.
It means don't hate
you need
them.
to forgive.
Anyway, I got to run, Earl. It's nice talking with you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, fella.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
Adios, amigo.
Do you drink?
No, I don't drink. Well, I drink normal liquids, but I'm not just alcoholic beverages. No.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Take care.
Adios.
All right. I will get to Rick and Gabriel. He wants to rebuke Earl. And the rest of you callers, I will get to you. Man. I'll be right back for the rest of hour 2. Got to take a quick break. And stay tuned, callers. And let's see. A little bit of more information on the LGBTQ madness. Just know that there's a whole bunch of them getting elected. So we got to keep fighting for what's right, you know? Or keep telling the truth and not be overreacting. And the Confederate flag mess. Ridiculous. And maybe a little bit about Ted Wheeler out of Portland, Oregon. After this quick break, guys. Be right back. So, guys, I am back. It's 10:10 a.m. here in Los Angeles. I told you yesterday about like 4 or 5 or 6 maybe, or however many so-called transgenders, male to wannabe female transgenders getting in there into office. And Daily Wire, one was a so-called white one. I put a picture of this person who is almost convincing from far away. It had, some of us will, a fake wannabe woman, right? Getting into office, sometimes youngish, like 20s, 30s, and some of them older, in their 50s and gross stuff like that. You're supposed to have grown out of all that madness. by that point. But look at Bruce Jenner. He's what, 60 something? A white one I had talked quite extensively about yesterday on the show. Well, Daily Wire reports a transgender POC, person of color. That basically means non-white, anti-white, really. Elected to Kansas legislature, shattered a lavender ceiling. They're calling it a lavender ceiling. In some cases, they call it a rainbow ceiling. Stupid. Kansas elected a transgender wannabe woman to the state legislature on Tuesday, marking a first not just for Kansas, but the entire Midwest. Democrat, so-called Stephanie, quote-unquote, Byers, 57-year-old retired high school band teacher, won the District 86 Kansas House seat, 54.4% of the vote. Ridiculous. Shame on the voters, right? According to unofficial results reported by the Wichita Eagle, District 86 includes portions of the capital. Isn't Wichita the capital of Kansas, right? Wichita, Kansas. I've been there. I went to a wedding there. It was not a LGBTQIA wedding, although the woman was liberal, and the man kind of followed the woman. So maybe it was. It kind of counts, right? Ridiculous. So that's another one, right? I don't think that I had mentioned this Stephanie Byers person. Maybe I had. I forget. But I covered it all yesterday. Joy Reid, is it Joy Ann Reid, I think? From MSLSD or MSDNC, MSNBC, is evil and a liar. Oh, do you have that clip from, I think yesterday, the Jesse Lee Peterson show had this clip of Joy Reid. She got ripped because she called Clarence Thomas, the only true Justice Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court, Uncle Clarence, and also dismissed Amy Barrett, as though Amy Barrett's going to side with Trump when she's shown that she's a kiss-up to the liberals. She pretends racism is real, and she cries with her black adoptive children from Haiti, as though they should be concerned about George Floyd. Oh, that could be my brother. Fake. So people called her disgusting for this, but she said, quote, if they manage to stumble into the Supreme Court, let me know if you find the clip. You have it? Okay, let's play this clip. This is Joy Reid being disgusting on MSNBC. She's a host, and she also, back in her blogging days, she criticized the gays. She made fun of the gays, the homosexuals, allegedly. But she says, I was hacked. My website was hacked. Yeah, okay. And they let her get away with it. Phony person. Here's Joy Reid. Gross.
If somehow they manage to stumble into the Supreme Court, do any of you guys trust Uncle Clarence and Amy Coney Barrett and those guys to actually follow the letter of the law? No. I mean, it is a completely politicized Supreme Court that you can't just trust that they're going to do the right thing. Now, so far, the courts have actually been pretty good. So we'll see.
What a phony person. She is the dishonest person. And the Supreme Court is liberal. They've been, and that's why she says so far courts have been pretty good. And she called Uncle Clarence, which is supposed to be like a reference to Uncle Tom. None of that made any sense. They're talking. Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
What a phony person. You know, they act like conservative justices who actually follow the law are the dishonest partisan ones. Conservative justices are objective, and they are disciplined, and they do what's right, regardless of their politics. That's Justice Clarence Thomas. He's the only one. Samuel Alito, maybe. Amy Barrett, RINO, kisses up to the liberals. Same thing with Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. And then the rest of them are just sleazy, scum of the earth people. Sotomayor, Obama, female Hispanic justice. Kagan, Elena Kagan, another female liberal. And then there's this, is it Breyer? Something like that. Just a whole bunch of sleazy liberals. So she's a fake person. But they're outraged because she called him Uncle Clarence. Uncle Clarence Thomas is a way better man than anybody on pretty much anybody else in government. He and President Trump are the only people that I would say those are trustworthy men that should definitely be trusted with government responsibilities. The rest of them, fire them all. Matt Gaetz can stay. Some of these others, they can stay as long as they function, right? But no, so often they just kiss up to evil. There's a guy who supposedly died of COVID back in October. David Andal, North Dakota Trump Republican, running for state legislature, won on Tuesday night, but allegedly he died of so-called COVID complications. And who knows if that's really true, but was not exactly healthy. And he's gone now. This RINO, North Carolina so-called Republican, Cawthorn. What's that guy's first name? Madison Cawthorn, 25 years old. I was, kind of pumped up about him a little bit. I was like, hey, good for him. Young man, real estate businessman, successful, wheelchair bound. I think he got in an accident in 2014 or maybe more recently than that. And so his legs are atrophied. And Samuel Forsberg says, if Hake says they can stay, folks. Am I being too gracious to Matt Gaetz? I don't think so. He said you're welcome on behalf of white people for voting for Trump. But this guy, this Cawthorn guy, pretended to be pro-Trump, pretended to be conservative. I don't think he's a legitimate or I don't think he's an honest person. I think he's young and manipulated and trained and a fake. He wrote this disgusting RINO, what you guys call neocon, which I gather means like globalist, kisses up to the liberals, pretends the fake notion of racism is real, and that's what this male is. Just this cringy globalist RINO article. He wrote it and put it in the Daily Wire. Daily Wire is Ben Shapiro's outlet, and I would think that it's embarrassing even for Ben Shapiro to put this up on there. But I don't know. It was disgusting. But the Washington Compost pretends that, he's faced allegations of racism or racial something. Basically, he was called racist for being white. Really, that's all it is. Insanity, though. New Jersey banned plastic and paper bags. They're competing with California on how insane they can be. Single-use bags and foam containers, too. So, you get your to-go thing, and it's in that styrofoam container. Those of you who get takeout or order stuff from places, delivery or whatever. It doesn't take effect for another year and a half, but Governor Phil Murphy, Democrat, New Jersey has violated people's Second Amendment rights left and right, and now they're just being ridiculous. And it's all in the name of this fake environmentalism stuff. They have paper straws now, and those things are so obnoxious. Makes you not even want to drink anything. Just get water from the sink and drink it, sip it like a regular cup. And quickly, Mississippi. I have to get this before I get back to you callers. Hang tight, guys. Mississippi swaps out I want to just talk so bad about Mississippi right now. Swaps out the Confederate battle flag or Confederate flag emblem. I think they have a Confederate battle flag emblem in the upper left corner of their flag. The real flag, the one it's at least like 100 years old or 80 years old anyway. Maybe more than 100 years old. Maybe like 140, 130 years old. And they call it divisive. No. They swapped it out for a flower, a magnolia. And they lied and put on this flag, "In God we trust." No, you don't. You're kissing up to this fake racism thing. You don't believe in God. You believe in cowering. It's ridiculous. And the history is they pretend, white supremacists reinstated this Confederate battle flag in their flag, right? They did that to intimidate the blacks and all that stuff, right? Back then. And I don't know if they did that, and I don't know if any of that's true, right? And they're not white supremacists. Stupid. But let's pretend that it was malicious people, Democrats, by the way, but they were I think is more likely that they were Americans who wanted to hold on to their Southern heritage and put that back on the flag, this Confederate battle flag symbol, an honoring of a whole lot of Confederate history in the state of Mississippi, and let's hold on to that heritage and honor it. I think that's more like what it was, because there is an attack and a smear upon the South that every kind of identity-based attack is not politically correct. Every kind of diminishing and dismissing of culture is not correct. You can't do that to Muslims. You can't do that to Asians. You're being racist against these people. You can't do that to Mexicans. You can't do that to the blacks or anything. But it's okay to do it to the South. Everybody knew that, right? Everybody knows it's fine to dismiss and caricature and smear Southern people, especially Southern whites, as racist and all that stupid stuff. And they were responding to those attacks, I think. Was Lincoln wrong for violating their right to secede? I don't know. I kind of think it might have been a smart idea to keep the country united, but I don't know. It's crazy. 600-something thousand Americans killed in the Civil War, and they just want to dismiss it and smear half the country. The decent people, the most Christian people, the most, at least traditionally, conservative people. And it's a disgrace. It's a scapegoating. It's like what I heard that Nazi Germany did to the Jews, just scapegoating these people as they're the problem. And they are acting like the blacks who are so-called hurt by this symbol, which they're not, need to be appeased. Appeasement is evil. And there are fake Christians who are promoting this thing as a good thing. Show the flag and all these people who, there was this ridiculous looking commission of people who did it. That's the old flag on the left if you're looking at the video. The old flag is on the left, has a beautiful Confederate flag, very nice, has the blue X with the stars running through it, and then it has the 3 stripes. That's the Mississippi flag, the real one. And then the new fake one is this magnolia flower thing in the middle of a blue vertical wide stripe with stars around it, and it says, "In God We Trust," which is a lie. They don't. But it's called the "In God We Trust" flag. And this Sam R. Hall guy, a former, he's a liberal media guy, he said, "This will be the new state flag of Mississippi. Voters overwhelmingly approved it." Yeah, because they weren't really given a choice. And this has been subjected to fake propaganda as though it's a hate symbol. The other thing is a hate symbol. This is a great day for the state as we move forward, this guy says, from a divisive emblem that now rests in the past. It's not divisive. It's divisive to smear the South and call that symbol a racist symbol when it has nothing to do with that. It's pure evil. And we don't have representation. If you show the people who were behind the commission that chose this flag, they were given like a whole bunch of different selections. The people there's like blacks, there's this liberal looking female who doesn't look like a normal person, just a liberal female hippie person. Look at that. And they're inside of this creepy UN looking type building thing. Look at that woman. You really think that this is representation? Katie Blount. Look at these people. Those are not fair-minded people. There's a bunch of liberals and kiss-ups. And they call it the In God We Trust flag. I'm showing just pictures. We're showing pictures of this so-called commission that wasted a whole bunch of time changing something that did not need to be changed. You know, let's pretend that back then they were malicious and they wanted to intimidate the blacks somehow with this dumb flag. Okay, it's done. The way to bring in unity is by people getting over it, people having some class, not all this work to change stuff. You don't make physical changes to bring unity. You make spiritual changes to bring unity. Get over your hate. This change is motivated by hatred and resentment towards whites, and it's misplaced. Pandering and appeasement on the part of the whites and whoever else thinks that this is a good thing. And pandering and appeasement makes people worse. It doesn't do anything. It's only a rejection of Southern heritage and history, which is nothing to be ashamed about. Slavery was not anything to be ashamed about. It's not wrong compared to the stuff that we're doing today. We being the degenerate society that accepts homosexuality, abortion, accusing whites of racism, and prosecuting them based on political motivations. Hating decent men like Trump. It's crazy. And by the way, that guy who was calling that a good thing, that fake news reporter, he calls himself, I am a Christian, husband and father. This Sam R. Hall guy. Former Clarion Ledger executive editor. I live in Jackson area with my wife, 3 kids, and 2 dogs. So these people act like they're nice people, right? Or fake like they're nice people, but they're cowards and kiss-ups. If I have time, I'm going to get to Ted Wheeler, who's another coward and kiss-up. But I got to get back to calls. Hang tight, guys. Let me get to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. He's been on hold for quite some time. Rick, how are you doing?
I am doing. And James, what about yourself?
I'm doing fine as well. What's up?
Man, hey, man, what you think about the election, man? I mean, much as I like President Trump, man, but it's going to take the act of God to keep him as the president, man. What do you think? We'll
see what happens. He's a fighter, and I think that God is on his side, or he's on God's side anyway. And so,
'cause I do believe there's corruption. I do believe that.
You believe what?
That there is corruption with the polls.
Are you talking too close to your phone? Every time you call in, it's all crunchy.
Yeah. What about now? Can you hear me, James?
That's a little better, I guess.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know what happens
because. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you come in and you talk loud, and it gets all crunchy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I try to talk so loud, my brother.
I don't know if it's loud as much as if you're talking too hard into it, like if you're too close to the mic. Like
I think that's what it is.
Maybe you're breathing into it or something. Because it's always like this. And you're like the only one.
Man, oh Lord, boy. Okay, I try.
I agree with Lou. Is it Louis? Trump is not a loser. Yeah, Trump is.
Oh, I agree.
He's a winner. He
Definitely
fights to win. And so
now,
if this thing is winnable, he's winning it. So
now here's a question though.
Yeah.
Let's say like for example, I stayed up to 3:00 in the morning watching the election. My wife thought I was crazy. And
it sounds kind of crazy.
You know, I was just watching the election. You know, and the thing about
But
it,
you
when
didn't.
they said
But
they
you
was
didn't
going,
know that it was going to drag on, and on and on.
I didn't think it would drag on like that.
Oh, I knew that it was.
I knew
I
it.
mean, I was quite sure that it was going to drag, because of the mail-in thing, and they're fighting so hard to. I knew it wasn't. I kind of knew that it was going to be close, and that it would drag and drag.
I knew it was going to be close too, but I didn't think it would drag like this.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is.
Now you're breaking up, Earl.
Oh, Earl. Can you hear me now, James?
I mean, Rick. Earl, Rick.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry.
Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, I was weird. Louis.
You know, how can, you know, James, how can you think, let's say, like, if, you know, President Trump lost Wisconsin not even by a point, do you think he can overcome that if he get a recount?
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the state-by-state thing. There are people who watch that stuff. I don't watch it. I just go by what the mood of the country is and all that stuff. It's, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Because the way I look at it, if they can prove that each state got corruption, how would that go? Would they make them just recount everything or just reward the state the president?
It's an uphill battle, because the establishment doesn't want to acknowledge the obvious problems and inconsistencies. More people voting in some places than there are more votes in some wards. For example, in Milwaukee, I think, than there are registered voters. All kinds of stuff going on like that. They don't want to acknowledge these issues, you know? So it's going to be an uphill battle to argue your case. But he has some good lawyers who are, if there is such a thing as a good lawyer, he has some decent lawyers who are fighters, and he's a fighter too. I think he's a better fighter than most, or probably all of these lawyers, to fight his case. And so I appreciate that. We'll see what happens.
You know, I like that too. And I tell you what, James,
Yeah.
the Democratic Party is responsible for the coronavirus. It was working according to plan to force mail-in balloting.
Yeah, them and
That's
the
what they
RINOs.
wanted all the time.
Them
Yep.
and the RINOs who've been pushing this globalism thing. It's phony.
You know, and this and you know the Democrats been pushing the coronavirus real hard. They've been the only ones pushing it.
They ignored it when they were busy impeaching Trump, but that's when they should have been taking it seriously, if this is something to be taken seriously at all. So they're fakes.
Wow, man,
they
I'm telling you.
only started paying attention to it when they had a get Trump angle. So, yeah.
Now, have you heard anything about the election? You just turned it off pretty much.
No, I didn't turn it off. Every now and then I glance up, right? Because we have Fox News going, which is faux news. I mean, there seem to be siding against Trump and kissing up to the establishment liberal media, and they've become that, you know, and they're kissing up to the gays and the females and blacks and the degenerate cheaters. I mean, they have Donna Brazile on there, who gave debate questions to Hillary so that she could beat out Bernie Sanders, you know? So it's just, they've accepted all kinds of corruption into their organization.
I thought she was on Fox News. I thought the way she hated Fox, I'm like, Donna Brazile, what is she doing on Fox?
She likes money and attention.
And
She's a phony.
Fox hired her.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing, man. Because when I saw that, what is she doing on Fox News?
Yep.
You know, and the thing about it,
she should be hiding her face in shame, but it's not. Shame is not pushed on blacks like it should be.
You know, blacks, with all this election promise going on,
much less black women.
Every city is Atlanta for Georgia, Charlotte for North Carolina, Philadelphia for Pennsylvania, Detroit for Michigan, and Milwaukee for Wisconsin. Every one of my black.
Great point. That's a great point. You're calling out those places as hot spots for corruption, fraud, abuse, coercion, and cheating. Those are the places that are held up. That's a great point, man.
All of them is holding everything up.
Honestly, Arizona too. Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's Phoenix.
They support evil.
Arizona.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
And also too, doing this with the cities, they push. I mean, like if they're doing a recount, can the Trump supporters come in and like just oversee what's going on?
That would be nice. Yeah, that's the pretense, is that they have a Republican and a Democrat overseeing the counting or whatever, right? That's not reassuring. There's a whole lot of phony RINO Republicans. That's what the debate commission. The debate commission is supposed to be nonpartisan or bipartisan, right? The presidential debates. That guy is not a pro. I would be shocked if that guy is the guy who's supposedly the only male respectable guy on the debate commission. If he's a pro-Trump guy, it's not honest or fair. So,
but you know what, James? They do have a recount. Who you think gonna be that supervisor? You think gonna be federal voter inspectors or?
Oh, I don't know.
President, because they're gonna have them in probably Wisconsin, and hopefully they finally award President Trump Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. It seems like Pennsylvania been stuck on 80. I think it's like 90% all came in. They've been stuck at 90 for a minute.
There's some place that is not going to announce until next week. There's one of these states. So it's crazy. A Pennsylvania judge guaranteed GOP observers can watch ballot counts. But that's not encouraging because GOP means RINO nowadays.
I know, man. It's like everybody's scared. Like even when I hear blacks, go ahead, James.
And we don't know if these ballots are valid.
That's right.
They've been allowing anchor babies to vote, anchor grandbabies. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Man, they don't care.
Yep.
They don't care, man. They voted for transgenders, and it's what party they're in.
Right.
The Democratic Party.
Yep. And they're trying to infiltrate the Republicans, too. It's crazy. I appreciate it, Rick. We'll talk again.
Hey, love you, James. Keep up the good work, my brother.
Thank you.
We have pulled for President Trump to pull through, man.
Yep. All right. Take care. Let me get to Gabriel in California. He wants to respond to Earl. He's black, and he got to rebuke Earl. How you doing, Gabriel?
Man, all is well.
Nice.
Hey, man, the Great White Hope is my president. And, man, hey, I just want some of the things that you were talking about just now just really touched me. That Wichita case. In Wichita, they elected a teacher who was a transgender.
Yeah.
And knowing this, that, ever since I was younger, because I'm in my 40s, so I'm old. So older, not old as Earl.
Right.
See, Earl is disconnected from his community and doesn't see the type of people that are out here that are constantly disrespecting people. I live in the neighborhood, and I have neighbors, and they black, they'd be starting trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of it. But this teacher situation in high school, they allowed this type of homosexual behavior to be put out there like that, where they had teachers that were flamboyant.
Yeah.
One of the teachers that was heavily influencing on my school, or my child's school, I'm talking about my children now, on my child's school is a band teacher. Now, that band teacher accepted everybody. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of, fairy tale type. And he allows all that behavior to go on.
Yeah.
So he had a heavy influence on those children. And so when it came down to voting in that city, it's just like the person that's more popular when it comes to that stuff is the successful band teacher in Wichita.
Wow.
And now that affects all the community because everybody says, "Oh, Mr. Smith was cool then, woo, and he's still cool. I know he treated me this way."
Right.
They develop an acceptance to immorality when they're dealt with the so-called nice teachers, which are really, really evil.
Yeah.
And so, as a person that teaches right, and we need to have more people who are influencing the teaching of our children in schools if we were to be public school teachers. What do you think?
I agree with you. If they're going to have public schools, decent men and women should be public school teachers, should get in there and deal with it because the liberals have just brainwashed generations of people through mainstream media, through social media, through academia, and these people get into these positions of so-called influence, getting into Hollywood and, again, academia. They become teachers, and they're getting worse and worse and more blatantly pushing this fake racism idea on children and LGBTQIA stuff. And it's so bad that the children become like a crazy lynch mob if you're a teacher who disagrees with it. So it's you go in, you can go in and be a conservative and decent teacher, but if you get too openly conservative, they can form a lynch mob and go after you. So be warned ahead of time what you're getting into. It is evil. You're dealing with an evil world. So
us and ourselves, the thing that President Trump was pushing was our school choice.
Yeah.
Homeschooling it should be more exciting to homeschool, but I believe that sports, athletics, and music, those departments of creativity, we're not. We need to have more influence in those areas.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? As a believer in Jesus Christ and Lord. No, also that guy was 100% right about those black cities. And they're making us out to be cheaters, but not all blacks are cheaters.
Right.
And not all blacks are Democrats neither. So,
right.
That in itself, man. Hey, keep up the good work. Hey, Nick, Joel, all those guys over there, Jesse, love you guys, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
Thank you, Gabriel. Appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right.
Paul in Williamsburg, Virginia, wants to talk about the election and the hypocrite Democrats. Paul, what's up?
Hey, how you doing today?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. I was just
no man is good.
Yeah, I was just listening to a guy that was just talking about the public schools. It's so true. And my son went to a real nice school, George Mason University. I paid a little money for that, and he's an engineer. And now, while he was in school, he said he couldn't talk any conservative language, or you were, just kind of picked on, shunned, and whatever. And now that he's out there working for a living, he's an engineer, and he likes guns and has stocks, and so he's really turned to the right, and he's really, really great. But I was listening this morning, trying to keep up with the election, and there's not a whole lot you can hear on the radio, so I put on NPR. But not only public schools are bad, but the public radio, it's crazy what they're putting out there.
Yep.
They were talking about how all these Republican senators have to work with Pelosi and Schumer and Biden if he's elected, and I just want to yell back at the radio. Nobody ever tried to work with Trump on that side. Why
I know. It's so true.
Why should we have to do something that nobody even tried for the last 4 years, even considered? It's just crazy.
We're a divided country, and our side wants, the side of the real Republicans, not the RINOs, wants the Republicans to function for the Republican values, meaning the country, for God, the family, for responsibility, for law and order, for not kissing up to these fake liberal ideas. But they're doing it. They are.
And I was talking about my son Wesley. He got me listening to Jesse Lee. We get together and work out and watch Jesse's podcast.
Nice.
And it's just amazing some of the stuff that he says that some people are just afraid to say.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's just, yeah.
We need to bring America back.
We do. We really do.
Men.
And I'm praying for our country. I'm praying for our president, and I just hope Trump wins this again.
Yeah. Same here, man. It's good to hear from you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. He's right. Isn't that kind of refreshing? Some sanity, Let me get to Joe in Phoenix, Arizona. Joe, what's up?
Hey, James.
Hey.
All right, so we've had plenty of talk about the Confederate battle flag there.
Yeah.
As you know, it's not even the flag of the Confederacy. It's the battle flag of Northern Virginia. So that's the first thing.
Which is a
and,
moot
it was
point.
only added to the Mississippi state flag after the 1964 Civil Rights Act was approved.
It was added. I think it was added to the Mississippi state flag after the Civil War.
No, it was not. It was after the 1964 Civil Rights Act, buddy. You can look it up.
I don't know.
Now.
And that's irrelevant because it's been there. It's been that way. It's been that way. No, you're wrong, buddy. 1819.
No, I'm not.
Well, it's kind of irrelevant. Look, 1894 to 1906, 1906 to 2001, 2001 to 2020. It's always been this Confederate battle flag emblem on there since 1894, which is after the Civil War ended, but not after. You got your flags confused.
In 1865, James.
I know. It's 30 years after the Civil War, but didn't you say that after the Civil Rights thing, 1964?
64, they added it to the flag, yeah.
No, it's been there since 1894.
We disagree on that. I'll have to do some research on that.
Yeah, you can disagree with facts. You tend to do that.
I think you tend to do that. You tend to
I disagree with lies that people present that they pretend is supported by facts. I disagree with lies that you guys, because you guys like to deceive by citing facts.
You're never going to repudiate slavery, so I'll appeal to you more as a economic balance. Slavery was a failing agricultural system.
Right, and nobody who supports the Confederate flag today wants slavery back. So it's a moot point.
Oh, I disagree with that, but
you think people want slavery back?
There are some extremists who do, absolutely.
You think that Confederate battle flag supporters want slavery back? Can you name one, or are you just speculating?
No, I would say some of them.
Can you name one, or are you just speculating?
I'm just speculating the same way that you and Jesse do about black folks.
No, we don't not speculate. It's plainly obvious the way the blacks act. Shamelessly.
No, it's not, because you consistently take the worst of the black folks, the 0.015%, and apply it to all black people.
No, you are an example of the blacks that I talk about.
I'm absolutely not. I'm nothing like.
Yes, you are. You believe in the racism thing. You support Obama. You rationalize. You rationalize evil. It doesn't matter if he's in office or not. You supported Obama, and to this day, you're shamelessly supporting him as a great person.
To this day.
And you think that Trump is a horrible person. You're a typical intellectual, and you're still brainwashed into the black thing. And you're all high and mighty. You think that General Lee.
I reject lies and stereotypes. That does not mean I'm into the black thing.
You are into the black thing.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I just reject lies and stereotypes.
All right.
All right.
All right. But look it up. Wikipedia, man. 1894 to 2020.
Between Biden and Trump, and it is being really close. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. You didn't vote for Biden, did you?
I don't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Trump. No.
I know you didn't vote for Trump. You're not sensible enough.
Sensible enough, yeah. I go on record. The wall is not built, and Mexico sure as hell didn't pay for it.
And you're not even sensible enough to vote for Kanye.
Oh God, I do hope you're joking about that.
If you don't vote for Trump, you got to vote for Kanye. I mean, let's be serious.
He's a sick person, and no one should care what he says about anything.
Did you want Trump to build the wall?
I thought it was a waste of time and money because it's not going to stop.
So then why are you even bringing that up?
Because it's one of his lies.
It was not a lie. It's being built, and a lot of it has been built, and Mexico is going to pay for it.
5 miles of new wall. He's done a lot of reinforcing the existing wall, but there's only
that's key as well. A lot of reinforcing the wall is very important because there are wide gaps where they just waltz right through. It may block vehicles, but it doesn't block people, and they just stream right through. Obama let them through like crazy.
That's wrong.
That's true. You don't remember 2014. It's on camera, buddy. You can't lie about it. You can try to lie about it, but people are not going to fall for it.
Deported more illegals than any other president.
You're changing the subject. We said that Obama let people through the open border.
Obama voted for a barrier. He did. You can't deny that.
Oh, yeah, you voted for it. That's lip service. That amounts to lip service. He let them through. He positioned the Customs and Border Patrol 40 miles away from the border. It was reported.
You can't deny the fact that he deported more than any other president, period.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He let them through. And he finagled to try to keep them here. The fake upstanding ones who would be good communists, dress up in suits, and run a campaign for us to allow the illegals to stay here.
None.
Huh?
None.
Huh?
You're just saying stuff with no facts to back it up.
Yes, it is. You ever heard of DACA?
Deferred action against childhood arrivals.
Yes. Illegals. He campaigned to keep them here. And he tried to do DAPA, too. Parents of so-called Americans, meaning anchor babies.
Well, gee, it sure seems like Trump
he failed.
Didn't overturn that, did he?
He tried to, but the Supreme Court didn't let him. Now.
Maybe it's not so easy. So maybe it's not so easy to do the things that you say when he gets in office.
Yeah, exactly. But you're pretending that he lied when he tried to do stuff, but he was stopped at every chance. So now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Dishonest person.
Lied constantly when he said that you can keep your doctor when he tried, right?
Typical dishonest intellectual.
Yes, you are.
No, that's you. Tricky.
That is you.
Don't be so childish.
No, James, come on. You're the one who loves throwing out ad hominems to distract from
ad hominems are valid. Ad hominems are very valid. I don't accept this global warming stuff. You don't fall for the
definition. That means it's not valid, James.
You don't fall for the global climate change madness, do you?
Why are you talking about climate change now?
Because I'm giving you an example of when it's reasonable to use ad hominems, and they are valid. It's not a fallacy.
James, you're not a scientist, so you don't even know the science.
Exactly. Neither are most of these people. And we all know that science are a bunch of liberals. Scientists nowadays are a bunch of liberals. You're appealing.
Worldwide, really?
You're giving a false appeal to authority. I took critical thinking too. That's an appeal to authority. Anyway, I appreciate you, Joe.
Today.
Huh?
It should be interesting. It's coming down to Arizona, though. It's just really tense here right now.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's really tense here right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Watch your back. You don't want to get confused for a Trump supporter. They're attacking Trump supporters right now.
I haven't heard of any violence here in Arizona yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is.
Yeah, I know. Well, Joe, take it easy. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, James, but again, the Confederate flag issue is one that's...
Do you agree? Do you agree that this whole thing is motivated by an insane resentment towards whites? This whole Confederate thing.
No, of course not.
It's a resentment towards whites.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
We don't have any statues of
then why do they
Benedict
even change it? If it's not based in resentment.
We don't have statues or memorials of Benedict Arnold, do we?
What?
We don't have any statues or memorials of Benedict Arnold, do we?
I don't know who that is. I'm pretending not to know who that is. You're changing the subject. You're changing the subject.
It's related to the subject because he was a
It's not related.
Just like the South were traitors.
The South were not traitors. They tried to leave.
Yes, they were.
They were not traitors.
They were traitors.
They were not traitors. Most Confederates were not tried as traitors and executed. You're lying. You're being a dishonest, divisive. You're being very divisive. Shame on you. Shame on you. And who cares?
To this day.
Yeah, he said to this day.
To this day.
Nice. Congratulations. Well, man, Stop hating white people. You're part white.
James, I don't hate white people. I love white people. I love all people.
Right on.
Including white people. So don't even try to.
Don't hate the South.
Blame me.
Don't hate slaveholders.
James, slavery was an evil thing. It was not a good thing. It was evil.
But don't hate the slaveholders.
Don't dismiss it, James. It was an evil thing.
Well, don't dismiss abortion and same-sex marriage and socialism.
I've said repeatedly that abortion is evil too. And you know I don't support the whole gay agenda, which is my big problem with BLM.
And don't support the fake cries of racism. It's false smears upon whites.
Racism is a real thing that does exist.
I know, but there's endless false smear. Well, I know that you think that. You're wrong. But let's let you leave that one alone. But admit that there's all kinds of false cries of racism all over the place against whites. So petty.
You know that I was one of the first ones to say that Smollett was lying and his story was full of holes. So, yeah.
I know, but Smollett is like the tip of the iceberg. You're ignoring stuff that's like rampant. Anyway, Joe, we'll talk more another time.
We'll talk more.
All right. Take care.
We'll see what happens with Trump and Biden here. Should be interesting.
Yeah, take care, man.
Have a good day. Bye.
All right. Robert in Kansas, how are you doing?
Hey, Hake, I'm doing well. I want to first say that if you send your children away to be educated, you don't love them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of stuff that you've mentioned. I'll try to be fast. I know we're at the end. Maybe I'll call back tomorrow. First, the Jews declared war on Germany, so that needs to be understood.
How did they do that?
It's historical fact.
Look it up, guys.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Well, I'm just talking about. Well, because it's a reference to, you know how whites are getting scapegoated. I said that's what I heard, that the Jews were getting scapegoated. Is that why you're mentioning that?
Yes, sir. That's why I made the comment.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, real quick. The Confederates. What took place is private central banking was coming back in through the North. That's what that. If you know what private central banking is, that means your land and labor will be taxed, and it will go to bankers to pay off the interest. So that's what the Confederates were fighting for. They were fighting against enslaving the entire population, which we are now.
Yeah.
So that's something to understand. If you don't understand usury and debt and banks, then you're not going to understand what I'm talking about. But that's what happened. The reason you pay taxes today as a human man is because the South lost the war to the North. That's what happened.
Interesting.
My point I was going to get to, James, Rudy Giuliani, I call him Rudy 9/11 Teflon Giuliani. And maybe that's really all I have to say about him if you get what I'm saying. And what he's doing, Hake, is he's staring down the deep state, these people with their voter fraud, with all the stuff they're doing against Trump. And what he is he's what's called America's mayor, the mayor during 9/11. And people know him for that. Most of the country does. And what he has is a lot of information. He has the documents, as Alex Jones would say, and those documents are distributed. And what he's doing is saying to the deep state, yeah, we may have our lies here and there, but you know what, guys? I have a bigger lie you told. And if you don't back down, there's going to be a problem. You understand? I'll release this information that'll destroy the government, that we were involved in 9/11 and that we allowed it to happen. And we went to war in the Middle East over it and killed millions of people, right? So they're not going to go there, Hake. They're going to back down. And because that's what's going on, that's what this election is. That when you see this happening, they're saying, you better stop doing what you're doing or we'll kill this whole son of a, we'll do the whole thing for you. If you're going to bring in communism, you're going to destroy America and you're going to make people wear masks like a bunch of retards I see doing it, Dude, they're just saying, you're going to destroy the country anyway. Let's go, bro. Let's go. We'll release everything. We'll release everything we did. And so that's what's going on, man. It's straight up political warfare. Hey, it's awesome. I love that guy.
All right. Appreciate that, Robert. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Good to hear from you.
You got to go, Hake?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll call tomorrow. We'll talk some more, man. Later.
All right. Take care. Rudy, I don't know where he's getting his information, but I do like Rudy because he's on the side of Trump, and that's the right side to be right now. What's your problem, Earl? Says Penny Roo. I got to end this. Ron Armand says, Ron from Rhode Island here. Do you think... Oh, yeah. I got that one already about the Civil War. Don't worry about that. Don't even entertain the... Doubt all thoughts, right? Arizona Lineman says, Earl, you really should start drinking. Ragnan0321 with a diamond. We knew it was going to be a split show. Talking about the election. Patrice O'Neill Griper, hey, with the diamonds, says, after Trump wins, remember to purge Con Inc. Bye-bye, Ben Shapiro, he says. Appreciate you, Patrice O'Neill Griper. And thank you guys for the super chats and support on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report as well. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. Make sure, if you missed it, rebuildingtheman.com/church for the 2010 premiere that we streamed yesterday. It's available on podcast if you didn't catch it already. Check it out, audio or video. Thank you, guys. Take care. Oh, Men's Forum tonight. So I almost forgot. Rebuildingtheman.com/events. Men's Forum tonight. It's going to be fun. For men only, 7 p.m. here at Bond in Los Angeles. Whew. Nice. Right on. Take care.